Alright guys, Killer versus C has gone the distance. We are in game number 5 of this best of 5 from the semifinals. So, I'm assuming you've already watched the other semifinal game set right now. So, this is going to be a spoiler from now until the clock at the top says about 35 seconds. Okay? Alright. So, if you don't want to be spoiled, turn off your sound. Yeah, so Hero won the other semifinals. So if C wins, we're going to have a ZVT finals, and if Killer wins, it'll be ZVZ. I'd really love to see a ZVZ finals with some really long games so we can see greater than Mutiling. Alright, spoiler section is over, and we are into the game. So, game number 5, map number 5 is once again going to be Fighting Spirit. Everyone loves Fighting Spirit. And so spawning in the upper right position, the yellow Terran, we have C. And in the bottom left position, we have our red Zerg player, Killer! Once again, Killer is the protege of Jaedong from the former Hwasun Oz, who then became Team 8. And C was the ace player from NBC Game. And then he also joined Team 8 for a season. And so yeah, go teams. Looks like we are having a 12 build from Killer. Of course, that means you get 12 drones prior to your tech building, which is going to be either a spawning pool or a hatchery, which we will see soon. I'm guessing it's going to be a hatchery. Yes, alright, and we see an additional drone going out to scout. We are in cross spawns, which should give Killer that little bit of an advantage. As a Zerg, you want as much time to build up as possible, so the farther you spawn away from your opponent, the better. First SCV for C is going to the upper left position. And so he'll scout Killer probably in the second spot. Overlord, if it pulls back right now, stays behind the high ground. He'll probably... Nope. Alright, Killer's not pulling him back. I guess he figures he'll be scouted sooner or later anyways. But usually if you have like an air unit on the high ground so that you can see the SCV coming in, you know where the SCV is, so you know where your opponent spawns, usually you want to keep your unit pulled back so that they can't see you. Since you're on the high ground and it takes them longer to scout, they have to send out 2 SCVs. Because that is what is usually standard. If you don't scout your opponent the first time on a 4-player map, you send your first one then to the far away position, and you send out another SCV to the near position, and then you can just pull whichever one back once you find out where the base is. But Killer didn't pull his Overlord back, so it didn't happen. But alright, pool is down, third hatch is down, gas is down for Killer. C has not yet taken his own gas. He is taking his expansion after his barracks. So, standard play, 12 hatch into third hatch, and barracks into CC. And C getting a little bit tricky. Sent his first Marine to try and intercept the Overlord from Killer, trying to keep that Overlord from getting to the natural. Killer's I don't want to say he's playing lazy, but he's like, nah, I'll just leave my Overlord over here where it's not going to get any useful scouting information whatsoever. Which, you know, it's sort of like a passive counter to, so C is, you know, he's trying to make these bold, aggressive moves, and Killer's just completely countering them by not doing the standard thing and, you know, scouting. But, alright, so because he's not scouting, Killer has chosen to... What? Sunken Colony just missed there, and the SCV was on the ramp. But yeah, so because Killer's not scouting, he's been forced to make a Sunken Colony to stay safe. Which, you know, it's a choice. You can do that. But I mean, you're a Zerg player. You want more drones. You don't want to make Sunkens. I mean, Sunken Colony's total costs are 175 minerals. That's expensive. That's like half a hatchery. I mean, that is half a hatchery if you include the drone cost. So C is... His Marines are just freaking out, going everywhere, scouting. They're like, where's that Overlord? That Overlord should be here. But, okay, I think they see each other. Marines are gonna... run after the Zerglings. And you say, all right, so if it's so good that, Zerg players normally have to get their Overlord to the natural, they're always going to do it. Why don't Terrans always send out their Marines to go hunting Overlords? And some do. If you're, I don't know if you remember the guy Light, he was considered to be like an expert TVZer. He was a Terran. But that was one thing he would always do. He'd always send out like 2 Marines to go and try and snipe an Overlord that he assumed would be, floating to his base. The only problem is if you do it consistently, the Zerg can counterattack you, make something like 4 Zerglings, send them out early, surround those 2 Marines, and get a really nice early game trade that'll completely mess up, your game, because then you'll have to play extra defensive, have to get either a bunker, second bunker, extra bunker, whatever it is. It really just hurts you if they catch those early Marines. So you got to be careful. But, nothing ventured, nothing lost. Alright, so Killer is moving out with the drone. He's trying to take a 3rd base. He's trying to take it at the, looks like the high ground 10 o'clock position, not the natural. So, of course, you want to take the high ground here in the TVZ matchup so that your lurkers can guard the top of the ramp. And you only need like 2, maybe 3 lurkers to hold off almost an indefinite, no, not indefinite, an infinite amount of Marines. But alright, 800 gas has been saved up. It's being all dumped into Mutalist as Aspire just finished. 9th Mutal on the way just now. Yeah, I'm watching the resources. I can't actually see what he's building. I mean, you saw the resource climbing up. He had 800 gas. Saved up his larva. It's what Zergs do. Yes, pro tip, if you do not do this already, whenever you are playing Zerg, if you are planning on a timing attack, you save up your resources, you save up your larva, and the second that one tech building finishes, you literally spend all your larva and all your resources on that one unit that you just waited for. I mean, of course you don't want to do it with like defilers and get like 10 defilers. But with mutas, it's literally what you do. It works great for the Zerg in the early game because larva is such a limiting factor, and then mutas are so much more expensive than everything. So the larva, it's more effective use of larva. Spending 200 resources on a single unit rather than spending like 50 on a drone or a ling. So that's why mutas are such a nice early game unit. I mean, they can do that harassment where they do damage, and since they regen it back, you've done damage to your opponent without losing anything, which is great. But they're also, like I said, they're really larva efficient because they cost so much more than most other early game Zerg units. But alright, drones are being transferred to the 3rd base, which will finish shortly. Muta harass is going down. We've got a full complement, 11 Mutalists. We've got a surprisingly a bunker from C. I'm not sure if that's, like... Yeah, I'm not sure about the DPS of a bunker compared to the DPS of a turret. I would bet that it's about double. But I mean, there's Marines in there, so you don't have them for the army. So, alright, little engagement here for Killer. Looks like he's going to clean up the reinforcements. However, he's going to lose his 3rd. So if I were Killer, it looks like Killer's going to hide those drones in the upper right position. That is the right thing to do. He's going to wait for his mutas and his lings to come in. The mutas and the lings should be able to clean up those Marines. Oh, he's doing an excellent job picking off the medics. But he doesn't want to take too much damage on the mutas. Oh no, he needs to pull the Zerglings back a little bit. Alright. Is he going to save it? He is going to save it! Oh, very nice pick-off for Killer. So yes, some of the mutas were definitely very much damaged. He lost a lot of lings. But he stopped that first attack, and he saved his 3rd base. But yes, one of the biggest problems and the easiest mistakes to make when using Zerglings is to A-move them in to an attack from across the map. And the reason is they will trickle in. And you see, I mean, just like those Zerglings there, they will be in the single file line. And the Marines will just pick them off one by one, and the Zerglings won't even get a chance to fire a single, not fire a single shot, but, do a little claw damage. So, what you want to do is get them literally 90% of the way there, have them group up, and then move them in, so that they all hit the attack at the exact same time. And so then, yes, even if 2 die before they engage, the rest of them all get in at the same time. The reason why mutas are so great is because they're sky units. They fly, they stack. So you can have them doing the tanking while the Zerglings close the damage. So even if the Marines are super effective versus the mutas for their cost, the Zerglings are able to close and do a whole lot of damage really cost effectively. You can do a similar thing with Protoss, using Zealots as the Zerglings, and then either goons or whatever else. I like to use Scouts. Zealot Scout is just hilariously awesome. But yeah, it's the same type of thing. You want to choose a melee unit and a unit that will stack like an air unit, and that'll really complement each other really well. But alright, here it is. First push. Double tanks. Only a single control group, a medic marine. Alright, there's the second control group. Since this number has been reduced so much. Nidus is done. That means the hive is done. Does Killer see the army? Killer does see the army. Loses a couple Zerglings for it, but he sees the army. He is going to be sending, I would assume, his lurkers through that Nidus immediately. Already got 2 lurkers at the top of the ramp. Unfortunately, there is a vessel, there is tanks, so he will lose that position eventually. But of course that high ground gives him that 50% miss chance, which is really helpful. You can see those lurkers were actually doing pretty darn good against the tanks. I'm not sure. I don't think he should have brought him back quite that fast. I mean, as soon as... Oh no, Muta's taking splash damage. Darn, irradiates. Greater Spire. So I mentioned before, Greater Spire is... It's the kiss of death. Why aren't your lurkers in the ground? Alright, there we go, we got swarms. Alright, this base should live. Oh, nice spines. 5 Marines die instantly. And Guardians are going to be morphed. It looks like they're morphed above the natural of Killer. Sorry, above the natural of C. But you remember the last time, game number 3, Guardians do, they do good damage, good range, they have armor, but you gotta remember, you cannot neglect your own base, and they have a huge cost. I mean, you think about how much a Guardian costs. It's 150 minerals, 200 gas. I mean, that's like what a tank costs, and then some. So think about it. I mean, that's like 8 tanks attacking it, the natural. So Killer really needs to be careful. I mean, I guess he's sort of saying, well, hey, I got, Dark Swarm, so I can defend as much as I want. But he's really got to be careful here. I mean, see, he's got almost no army whatsoever at his natural. It looks like he's going to push it back. He's got a single lurker under Dark Swarm, and yes, a single lurker under Dark Swarm will push that army back. That's funny, but that's how it is. But I mean, if Killer misses a single Dark Swarm, all of a sudden he loses his natural, and he loses his natural, he loses his Nidus, he loses his Nidus, he loses the game. I mean, that's literally what we have. So alright, so the lurkers, they're off the high ground, they are taking some marine fire, they're forced to retreat. 1 irradiate will kill that. And we saw the Devourer. So that Devourer will not really do much against vessels, since vessels, they cast irradiate and they run away, but it will ward away wraiths. Devourers, however, you gotta be careful because they're really stupid. And I mean really stupid. They will chase that single vessel into turrets and stay under the turrets and... Oh no, the lurkers are stacking! Remember what I said about missing a single Dark Swarm? And there's Fire Bats! And Fire Bats are splash units so they can do damage under Dark Swarm. This is I mean, the siege of the natural is really just devastating. See here. I mean, he can't even send out reinforcements because he's camping the ramp. But he's got so much. All right. I guess the army's got cleaned up pretty well. All right, there we go. Double wraiths. They're staying as far away from the Devourer as possible, so they don't take that splash damage. I said splash damage. It's not damage. It's like splash debuff. So all right, that double wraith will clean this army up eventually. But in the meantime, Guardians usually will two-shot Marines, which is one of the reasons why Zergs love them, and it makes Marines almost worthless. But Killer does need to be careful. Oh no, Defiler got irradiated. Swarm goes down, but it's in the middle of nowhere. The Marines can just run around it. And in the meantime, C somehow managed to establish a base at the 3 o'clock position. So, economically, he's actually not far behind. I mean, Killer's trying to take a 4th and 5th base right now. But, I mean, they're not up yet. And the Wraiths are going to start killing probes. Let's see. What kind of anti-air does Killer have? He turned all his mutas into Guardians and Devourers, so I don't know if he's going to make Hydras or if he's going to make Scourge. Alright, there's 2 Hydras. Looks like we have, I was going to say a partial, but it looks like it is a full mech transition coming from C eventually. So at least 3 factories. Of course, Mass Vulture is not like good viable long term, but it'll really get you a whole lot of map control with those spider mines. This entire time has C been only on 4 barracks? If so, he's been macroing like a boss. Maybe that's why he got that 3rd base so quickly. He's done a lot of damage with that little bit of Marines he has. But yeah, you can start seeing the spider mines being dropped. You know, pretty much every time there's a ramp, there's going to be spider mines by it. You know, anything that'll funnel units into a position, like a bridge like that, once again, spider mines. And Lings can't take on spider mines very well. I mean, they can run through them, but they die. And Lurkers definitely can't. So C is actually going to take a hidden 4th base in the bottom right position. This is actually a pretty common strategy when you're going for mech. You make these faraway bases, and you usually send like a control group or half a control group of medic marine to camp the ramp, you know, to stop Zerg from coming up. And then you build a completely separate factory farm, almost like a Protoss strategy, where you take that faraway 4th base and make a ton of gateways. But it's a Terran version. Killer is going for, what was that called, the Pneumatized Carapace, so it's the Overlord speed. Usually that's what you go for prior to going for a drop attack. It's not a bad idea, especially against mech, since of course against mech they've got such high range and high DPS. You know, just closing the distance to the army is like, you know, the hardest part. Good defense by Killer at the 5th base. And yeah, so this is actually going to be a nice long game. You know, both sides have, I'd say, full tech. I bet the Marines are... Actually, I bet the Marines are still at like 1-1 upgrades, since there was only 4 barracks and it was a pretty quick factory transition. And surprisingly, because of how Killer harassed the natural so much, it's not going to mine out for a really long time. Usually that's like a problem for Terran players. You know, your bases mine out really fast because you got such a high SCV saturation since you have a low number of bases. But the natural's going to stick around for a while. Looks like the main is mined out. 3rd base is still pretty fresh too, and the 4th base is going to be up pretty soon for C. There's the SCV train, and as you can see immediately, factories are going down, turrets are going down, plenty of spider mines. And only thing Killer can do against this huge group of spider mines is just sending, you know, a couple Zerglings here, a couple Zerglings there, pull the mines out of position. Here is a drop. Hidden base wasn't so well hidden, apparently. And we got Ultralisk, we got Lings. Looks like they're going to clean this up pretty quickly. I mean, yes, you go for mech to counter, you know, the Hive Tech Zerg, but Dark Swarm is... Mech does just as badly against Hive Tech Dark Swarm as Medic Marine does. I mean, yes, tanks will still do some splash damage, but wait, does he? Killer, you gotta kill the SCVs. You gotta kill the main. Does he not know it's there? Was this entire attack actually intended to kill the 3rd base, but he just ran into a Terran army at the hidden 4th? Is that what happened? Okay, we got a drop going into the natural, but the Wraiths found it. Let's see how much they can kill. That Overlord's going down. There's also a turret in the way. Oh no! Killer's gonna, I don't want to say wuss out, but I don't know if he's scared or something, but he doesn't want to lose any more Overlords. So yeah, so chances are Killer might want to change his unit composition just slightly. So of course Lurkers are excellent under Dark Swarm since they don't take damage, but because of the Terran army's range and damage output, Lurkers really just, they're not anywhere near as good in the late game. Your Ultraling is very, very cost efficient, even against the mass mech. Got to be a little bit more careful with the mines there. You don't want your army to just die to mines. But yeah, it looks like anti-air, even if it's just like a couple of Wraiths, anti-air may be a small problem for Killer if he doesn't change it up. It's a lot of oh, so many Ultras just dying to mines. 2 vessels go down, so nice pickup, but that's like 6 Ultras dying only to mines. Oh, so painful. Because mines are practically free. You get 3 mines on a 75 mineral vulture, so even if you assume the vulture has no cost, yes, if you assume the vulture has no cost, then the mines are only worth 25 minerals. I mean, that's just a great deal. I mean, that's, yeah, vulture OP. But alright, here we go. We got Lings, we got Ultras, getting into the natural. If they can just spread out a little bit more, they're going to clean up all these tanks super cost effectively. Oh, yes, they are. Oh, tanks, yummy, yummy, yummy. Once again, critical mass. No critical mass, Terran units die super fast. Looks like the mines, hero mines, going to block the Zerg from getting in. Oh, but we have a Dark Swarm. What? What's going on? Ultras are going nuts. Oh, I think the Defiler's blocking the ramp. It's super annoying. Jerk Defiler. But, oh! Was that just to clean up the army while the Doom Drop goes in? If those are full, this could end the game. If those are full, this could totally end the game. Are they not full? Okay, maybe those are just for detection. No, it's for an elevator! It's for an elevator! He's going in! There's a couple mines, so you gotta watch out. So we saw it loaded up. I don't think it's enough to end the game, but, oh, and it's lurkers. Just lurkers, bleh. Yeah, it looks like it's getting cleaned up. But in the meantime, it looks like Killer's also taking the, what do we call it, 11 o'clock position? Still streaming units across the map. Looks like it's a lot of Lings. And the Lings are actually doing a pretty decent job at defusing the mines. Of course, Lings have really fast attack speed, so they can actually, they're one of the few units that can take out mines in melee prior to them going off. But alright, we got lurkers there. GG! What? What? Did I miss it? No, I'm just nuts. I saw a yellow name saying GG. Yes, I am nuts. I saw a yellow name GG and was like, why would Killer GG? No, it was. All right, so C GG'd. Killer's moving on to the finals, which is awesome. So yeah, we are gonna have a ZVZ finals. I am really hoping for at least one game that gets past the, we'll say, 25-minute mark, because that's where ZVZ just gets unreal. I mean, because a single plague on Mutalisk means all your Mutalisk drop to like 1 HP. And then it's just gets so awesome, because all of a sudden mutas are no longer, cost effective to use because of that plague. So all of a sudden you see not just the Zerglings, but you see Ultras, because Ultras beat Zerglings because of the armor. And then because there's Ultras out, well, that means you can get out Hydras. Well, if there's Hydras out and there's Zerglings out, well, Lurkers are good against both of those. And so it just, all of a sudden, it opens up the door to a whole new matchup that you don't see ever. So I'm really excited. And, so yeah, Killer's going to the finals, and that's going to be awesome. I haven't checked the date. Last I saw, they haven't set a date. It'll probably be sometime in the next week, and I will cast it somewhat soon thereafter. If it's on a weekend, there's an opportunity for me to do it live, but I've never actually done a live cast, so that brings additional complications. I probably won't do it, but just throw it out as being a possibility. And then once this tournament ends, I saw there was a couple of people interested in the, what were they called? The Sonic Espinu Super Fights? And I really don't know what those are. It looked like they were some kind of either best of, like, I don't know, some kind of small tournament for 4 players, possibly. I will look into that, and so I will see you guys next time for more fun stuff, Brood War. Possibly might start streaming some Hearthstone just for fun, if you're interested. But, alright, this is TheEnder, signing off.